Hello guys, Nelson Virgil here from ExcelMale.com and DiscountedLabs.com. I decided to do a video on what the highest levels of estradiol should be for men on testosterone replacement therapy. There's a lot of confusion on the subject since LabCorp and Quest have very narrow sensitive estradiol ranges that were derived mostly from men not on testosterone replacement therapy, not on men that usually tend to have higher testosterone levels than men that are not on testosterone replacement. So believe it or not, there is actually a paper that was published many years ago, actually in 2010. Nobody has really paid much attention to it, about what happens when you inject different doses of testosterone to young and older men, and what happens to their not only their testosterone blood levels but also their estradiol blood levels and DHT. This is a very nicely done, very elegant study done in Boston at the Boston University School of Medicine by really very well-known researchers. Dr. Bassin is one of them, who has done excellent work for the last 30 years. Learned a lot from him. But anyways, let's get into this. This paper was published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism 2010, so it's been basically 10 years and nobody has really reviewed it, even though it's probably the most important paper on the subject of what happens to estradiol and DHT. But anyways, let's get into it real quick. I'm going to just scroll down. But before I do so, I want to tell you, I want to switch to a PDF since I already have it marked up for easier reading. So basically 51 young men, 19 to 35 years of age, and 52 older men, 59 to 75 years of age, where, believe it or not, were given a gonadotropin hormone releasing hormone and agonist, basically to shut down all their gonadotropins, their LH and FSH, and to shut down their testosterone, their estradiol, everything. So these are really brave volunteers in this study that are willing to have their hormones completely shut down. So why did they do this? Basically, they did it because the researchers wanted to start from scratch, from zero, when it comes to hormones. So those men were given injections, weekly injections of different doses of testosterone enanthate, 25, 50, 125, 300, up to 600 milligrams a week for 5 months. And the researchers measured the estradiol blood levels. Unfortunately, they used the old test, the immunoassay, which may not be as accurate as the new test that we're using now, the ultrasensitive test that has no interference from CRP and inflammatory markers, but close enough. Usually the sensitive estradiol is 20% lower than the total, but let's just assume that most of these men did not have inflammation. I'll show you guys what they look like, their baseline characteristics. So very interesting that they were even exposed to such high doses of testosterone, right? So they, after a 4-week control period, they were given the leuprolide depot, which is a gonadotropin releasing hormone agonist, shuts down gonadotropins. Is actually used for prostate cancer when urologists want to shut down men with severe prostate cancer, want to shut down their testosterone. Anyway, so then they were randomized to receive the weekly injections of testosterone enanthate for 20 weeks. They did have an issue with the higher dose, especially in older men, when they had a few more side effects, so they stopped a few of those men from continuing with the 600 milligrams of testosterone weekly. And so the randomization was limited to, after that, to 25, 50, 125, and 300 milligrams weekly. So, I've been warning people not to use very high doses, especially if you're older and have comorbidities and heart problems, or even not so much heart problems, but blood pressure or tachycardia, which are usually the main side effects that are listed. Anyways, not going to go through the different discussions here, but I want to show you what happened. Okay, I want to show you the graphs. Let me see if I can get this to increase in size. There you go. Oh, a little blurry, but we're going to work around it. Okay, so basically what you see here, these are serum estradiol, DHT, estradiol to T ratios. We talk about ratios on ExcelMale.com. I usually talk about T divided by E2. Here's the opposite. DHT and T ratios, okay? And the black bars are younger men and the white bars are older men, okay? So this is total estradiol, free estradiol, total DHT, free DHT. And when we talk about free, what does that mean? And basically, it's the unbound estradiol and unbound DHT that hasn't bound through sex hormone binding globulin. And those two free numbers are rarely tested in clinics. DiscountLabs.com does provide a free estradiol test for those that are interested. But since we really do not follow that number in any studies, it's hard to say what's a good free estradiol, right? And what happens with most guys is that they're afraid that they have high estradiol when they hold water. They feel puffy, they may have more sensitive nipples, which I'm going to discuss in another video, because those symptoms are probably not connected to estradiol per se. The water edema, the holding water problem, is usually caused by the slowdown of sodium metabolism in the kidneys. So there's sodium retention, salt retention that happens in the first few weeks, especially higher doses in older men. And the sensitive nipples usually does not lead to gynecomastia as part of the effects of testosterone. But anyways, not going to get into the details of what is and what isn't a symptom of high estradiol. I want to just get into the numbers here. So as you can tell, the total E and the free E estradiol, and as I said, black bars are young, increases obviously with increasing dose, and increases much more obviously in older men. And these were not fat men, by the way. These are men with a BMI of around 26. That's pretty lean. And the young men were also lean. But anyways, so we do see an increase, and obviously the older men in white tend to have higher increase of estradiol. DHT is the same thing, although the differences were not as noted between young and old. You can tell here the free DHT. When you divide estradiol to testosterone, that's when you see decreases. Obviously, estradiol increases in a higher degree than testosterone. So you see the ratio of E divided by T decreasing, right? You also see it here on this effect. And the total DHT to T ratio, the same. It decreases as we increase the dose, but not as fast as the estradiol. So you'll see what I mean when I show you the actual graphs, okay? And this is, I'm going to try to also get these graphs more blown up, because I forget that you guys are watching the video on YouTube with a small screen. I'm very fussy, and I apologize for that. That's the way this PDF is working. Anyways, this is the graph. This is estradiol, young man. This side here is young man, and this side here is old man. Okay, estradiol. So you see, yeah, as the dose went up, so was the level. You don't see obviously as many dots here. You see mostly dots under the 1000 T blood level. On older men, you see the curve going a lot higher than for younger men, right? This is the same scale, as you can tell. Young men, DHT also, we have an increase of DHT and an increase in older men. There is a little higher, but not much. And I forgot to mention at the beginning that 0.4% of testosterone, four-tenths of testosterone aromatized to estradiol. That's a very tiny amount. That's 0.4%. And DHT is around 10% of, that's why you see the scales a little bigger on the DHT side. So these are very small amounts. They seem like large amounts, but really the nanograms per deciliter, and this is really should have been picograms per milliliter. I emailed the researchers; their units is wrong here. So a max out of 90 or so picograms per milliliter, and here went up all the way to 150 and a bunch, right? So not everybody's the same, so that's why you see variations. We're not machines, every person is different. Okay, and then obviously they plotted a curve through a mathematical model to try to match these values, but you can tell, I mean, this is a better match here, not a really amazing match here when you see all these numbers all over the place. For the older man, there's more scattering in the older man values. The same here, they tried their best, but once you get to this point, it's a little more scattered. This looks like a better fit when it comes to the model. Okay, I'll be explaining what this Michaelis-Menten model to try to fit or predict what estradiol and DHT levels you would have with different testosterone doses. So you don't have to be so concerned about the LabCorp or the Quest ranges that usually scare people because they're always high when they receive their blood work. And I do see that a lot in guys that are using my company, DiscountedLabs.com. These are just free estradiol numbers, free estradiol, free DHT, younger and older men. You see more or less the same behavior anyways. Okay, so I wanted to show you something real quick. Yeah, these are the baseline characteristics. These are what these young men and older men look like before starting this whole study. 26 was the median age here on young, and 65, my age, I'm 62, on the older. Their total T was 581 in young, and the older men you would be considered low T in some clinics here in the United States at 335 nanograms per deciliter. The total estradiol, a medium of 20, so not too high, and 26, not too high. So you can tell that even though the median was 581, they more or less have higher estradiol, even though older men have 335 medium. They basically have very close, the estradiol numbers were very close here. And there's a statistical significance in the baseline values of both young men and older men. DHT higher in older men and younger men. Usually that's also connected to the total testosterone, and is also connected to higher libido. Older men had lower DHT, also linked to their lower testosterone. So sex hormone binding globulin, higher in older men. BMI, body mass index, 24 in young and 26, 27, which is really lean for, I mean, most Americans are over 30, American older men over 30 in their BMI. Percent fat too, 18%, so very lean young men, and kind of relatively lean older men if you consider the average here in the United States, which tends to be over 30-40%. So those are the, I don't think I have anything here, but I'm going to jump now to my site, to ExcelMale.com. I do suggest that you guys register. There's a registration link here to my site, because you will be getting newsletters every week on the hot topics. But I took that paper I just reviewed and posted obviously the graphs here, right? And what we got from that paper, I didn't show you because that section, I kind of skipped that section, but they came up with a model, and I only took the older man numbers, where they have factors to predict the curves, in this case for estradiol and for DHT. So basically these variables, these constants, I would say, are for this curve on estradiol, for older men, and this one is for DHT. So basically 138.3 times total testosterone, and then you divide that by 1470 plus testosterone, total testosterone. The same thing with DHT. So you can actually plot what these values are, okay? So that's what I did in the next section here. And let me really blow this up, because otherwise you guys are not gonna be able to see much. And you can always obviously come to the site and expand this table. So I just created a basic Excel file. Oops, let me see if I can just increase the size here, but I just increased the, I'm sorry, let me just go back. There you go. Sorry about that. So anywhere from 50 in total testosterone all the way to, I went up to 27, 25 nanograms, which is, these are really, once you get up to these levels on here, your bodybuilding doses here. But I wanted to just not plot, but actually come up with that equation that I showed you before, with the predicted estradiol and the predicted DHT. I did a T-E ratio, since most of the data I have on ExcelMale is T to E ratio, which we always want to see it over 14. And I have data on that I cannot discuss today because this video is going to be too long. But as you can tell, let's say, and that's where, let's say, a lot of people, a lot of men using testosterone, at least in my experience, I've seen it on ExcelMale, are around here, 800, 900, 1,000. Okay, and these are the E2 values that are predicted by the model, 50s up to, let's say, 60. Okay, and for example, Quest has a range of 20 to something like 32. So when they see a 60, they get scared and say, whoa, my estradiol is high. Well, your testosterone is also high, and the Quest range was not really designed for, you're probably mostly these guys, which, as you can tell, 20s to 30s, right? And estradiol. So you're basically, the labs are telling you, oh, you should be around here, right? Because really most of the database has come from here. When in fact is, you're around here because of your higher testosterone blood levels due to TRT. And this is where a lot of the clinics are keeping their men. Okay, I have nothing against that. I might run around this value, as long as your hematocrit and your HDL and other variables that I also list on ExcelMale and in the new book that I'll show you how to get for free. So the same thing, DHT goes up, and this is the DHT column. And DHT, even if you see, and very few guys are testing their DHT, I don't know why. You can actually buy it on discounted labs, the DHT blood test. You know, and even when they have higher DHT, they don't get too scared. Even we have debunked a lot of the myths and misconceptions around DHT and prostate cancer and all that. But DHT has been linked with a higher sex drive, so guys want to have it. But what I'm trying to get at is that you will see a higher estradiol that corresponds to that testosterone, the higher testosterone. Why is this happening? I say, well, it's around 0.4% of testosterone converts to estradiol, and there is a good reason why that happens. The evolution has protected us. It protects us against. Testosterone has beautiful benefits like more energy, more libido, more cognitive focus, but it has negative effects on cholesterol, the bad cholesterol. The good cholesterol decreases good cholesterol. It actually can have problems when it comes to endothelial function. When it's alone, where it has none of the estradiol protecting capacities. Estradiol comes in to protect us from the higher testosterone. It actually improves lipids, improves HDL, improves endothelial function. That's why women tend to live longer than men, because they have had higher estradiol along their lives to protect them against the cardiovascular risk that we all exposed to. So don't freak out. when you see 60s, even in the 70s, depending obviously on your testosterone. And the only problem we're having in this field is that we have not done a study that actually goes after symptology depending on estradiol blood levels when we control for testosterone. We know that estradiols under 15 picograms per milliliter cause problems, cause bone density issues, can cause even cognitive issues, high cholesterol. On ExcelMale, a lot of guys say that their penile sensitivity decreases when their estradiol is low. So we're getting a good idea there. But when it comes to high estradiol, we really do not know if somebody that is, let's say, at 1275 and is at 64, but instead is at 80, if there's any consequence to that. We really don't know. And the problem I'm seeing is that most of you guys are assuming too much. You're assuming that because you're holding water or you're having sensitive nipples, you have high estradiol, and you start treating with anastrozole without even testing your blood levels of estradiol, especially using the sensitive assay. And that concerns me, because once you start treating with anastrozole, you can crash your estradiol. And crash estradiol, it has become the biggest traffic source for ExcelMale as a keyword, because people are experiencing that more and more. Let me see before I keep going and bore you guys, because I want to definitely not bore you. You can see actually more discussions we discussed, and we actually went into details on this discussion. So anyways, so I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I also want to let you guys know I put together a 386-page, mostly illustrations and slides and graphics that I use when I train physicians, but I'm giving them away for free if you obviously give me a little bit of your information so I can update you on. I review the graphics here every 4 months and upload a new book. So I'll send you an email when that happens. So go to ExcelMale.com, as I said, as I looked, let me show you, and click here, free book. All right. There's also, if you're looking for a doctor finding, if you're already on testosterone, but you're having a hard time getting HCG or Trimix, you can click here, etc., etc. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you so much for sticking with me this long and for watching our videos. So please do not forget to subscribe to the ExcelMale YouTube channel, and make sure that you click on that little bell that will tell you when I upload new videos. Thanks a lot, and stay safe. Thank you.